All right, ladies, welcome to the Goal Digger Workshop. So today, the whole goal here is to set a goal that you actually have a whole full body hell yes with. And what I mean by that is every year in online business, so many amazing women will set these humongous goals and then they never hit even close to that goal. And then they're, kind of deflated and a little bit sad. And then you kind of like gear up again for the next year and get super pumped up and super motivated, and you set another huge goal and then you become deflated because you didn't hit it again. And I am 100% all for shooting for the stars. I believe that any of us can make $1 million online if that's what we really choose to go after. But I don't believe that happens in the first year for 99.9% of us. And continuously setting like humongous goals and not hitting them literally just chips away at our heart and our spirit and that fire that we need to show up with in the world and in our businesses. And so today, my goal is to literally help all of you set an income goal that is a hell yes in your body. Literally lay out offers that will anchor that goal and match, because we need that to be in alignment. And then the third thing that most people never think about, especially ambitious moms, is, do I have the capacity to serve this many people? So I'm just going to give you a couple quick examples. First, I'll introduce myself. If you don't know me yet, my name is Mara Riopel. I'm an online business coach. I live in Alberta, Canada, just outside Edmonton. And I've been in online business for 9 years now. My background was in commercial insurance sales. So I hit 6 figures before I was 30. I rose to #1 in the company. I beat all the men. I was in the old boys club. I was like the only one wearing stilettos to the oil field. I used to work with a lot of oil field contractors, construction guys, things like that. I cold called my way into all of those businesses and built my own book of business from the ground up in an insurance brokerage. So that's just a teeny bit about me. I don't want to sit here and spend a ton of time introducing myself. I hate it when people do that on workshops. So my name's Mara. Hello. I'm a mom of 4. I have a son with brain cancer. So I've got all kinds of shit being thrown at me all the time. My mom also just went through cancer this summer. So I had to help treat her and help her with her radiation burns and all the things. And so if you are in a place where you have a lot on your plate and you're taking care of people, I feel ya. We all have so much stuff on our plates, but we also have dreams about doing something bigger, right, with our lives. And just because we're taking on what everybody else needs, kids, family members, whatever, doesn't mean that we don't still get to chase our dreams. And so today, I want you to walk out of this workshop feeling like, holy shit, I can actually go and freaking hit this humongous goal. Like, I know I can do this. I'm going to find my fire. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do this time, right? So first things first, I just want to say, if you have been setting giant goals for the last few years, like I can honestly say for myself, I used to always be like, how am I going to hit $1 million? And I want to hit 300,000 in my first year. And the thing about it is that until you learn how your ideal client buys, you will never be able to sell huge numbers. And the other thing about that is you need to know who your ideal client is. And that will evolve over time, because the person that you think you want to work with right now probably won't be the person even in 12 months from now that you want to work with. So you have to just give yourself some grace and allow that evolution to happen. Your offers are going to change. Your income goals are going to grow. Your ideal client is going to evolve. You are going to grow and evolve, right? So you just have to make sure that you're always keeping that in mind when we set these things, so it doesn't feel rigid and it doesn't feel like you're trapped. You need things that set you free and feel amazing. That was a goal that I set for myself this year, which was to only serve in containers that make me feel lit up and excited and free to show up and serve in. And that's exactly what I've created for myself. And that's what I want for you too, because the last thing we need is to feel constrained. Otherwise, we might as well go back to our corporate or other jobs, right? We want somebody else telling us all the rules and what to do. Go back to a job. That's not what I'm about. And I'm sure that's not what you're about either. So if you have big dreams and you want to go chase big goals, this is the right spot. But I want you to make sure that after today, you walk out of here with like, yes, your brain can get behind that this is not just possible, but probable. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to use $100,000 as the goal, because I know a lot of you came in and said you wanted to make 75, 120, 100, $100,000 months, $1 million. Just going through 222. Oh, that's me. My goal this year for 2026 is 222. 222 in the door. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's start about talking about the math itself first. So when we talk about a number, do you want to hit a certain number within 2026, or you want to book that much money within 2026? Because they're different. And also, you have to think about, do I want to take home this amount of money, or do I just want to invoice this amount of money? And then after tax and expenses and all the things, it'll end up being this. A lot of times we just throw out a random number and we don't actually know what we need. And I think it's really important that you start with like a freedom goal. Like, what I mean by that is not like, oh, I can buy a yacht, you know, and go travel around in Monaco. What I mean by freedom is like, where is the number that you need after taxes and expenses to land in your bank account that actually allows you to breathe and feel free and be like, I'm so excited that this is my business now. You know what I mean? Like, not bare minimum. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like happy, excited, and free. So most of the time, there's very different numbers between like, this is the bare minimum I need to make my mortgage. And this is the middle where I actually feel like I can breathe. And this is the number that's like the big, hairy, audacious goal where I'm going, sky's the limit. What I want you to do is think about it this way. In the short term, we can talk about what you need bare minimum. In the medium midterm, I want you to set for 2026 is your where you can breathe and feel free goal. And then in the long run, so in the 3 to 5 year range, that's your big, hairy, audacious goal. Because if you're not at $100,000 yet in your business, the chances of you hitting $1 million this year are very slim. And I want you to have your brain, your heart, everything on the same page, thinking like, yeah, I'm going to go and hit this thing, but I'm also going to be laying the groundwork for what's about to happen in the next couple of years. Does that make sense to you guys? Just say yes in the comments if it does. Okay. So what I want to talk about first is income goal. So 3 things we're going to cover today. Hopefully you can see these. The income goal, your offers that are going to anchor them, and the capacity that you have in your life to serve right now or to work. So, okay, cool. Basically, when we talk about capacity, I want to think about how many hours a week you want to work. I want you to write this stuff down. Everybody chases a big fat number, and then they try to reverse engineer how much that means they have to work. But I want you to start the other way. I want to reverse engineer this. How many hours a week do you want to be on client-facing calls? So if you're a coach or a consultant, then how many hours are you going to actually be on? Most of us are online. So how many hours a week are you actually going to be on Zoom with clients is how that kind of lays out. So a lot of the time, my clients will say, no, it's called my girls. My girls will say, I only want to be on 10 to 15 hours a week on client facing work. The rest of the time it will be marketing or, you know, the back end or, you know, all the different things that have to happen. And there is a lot of work depending on your business that has to happen behind the scenes. That's not directly on a call too, right? So depending on what kind of business you have, what is your capacity to work with actual clients? It's really easy to just picture it as a one-on-one call, but it could be group calls, it could be anything. So for most people, it's 10 to 15. Because that still allows you to be there for your kids. Most of us have kids and we have varying schedules. And what I don't want you to have happen is that you're so booked out working 8 or 10 hours a day in client work 5 days a week that you have no ability for any flexibility in room when something goes wrong. Because inevitably, we all know when you have kids, something's going to come up every single week. Every week, almost every day for me. But at the end of the day, it's like, what allows you to feel free and happy and ready to show up and serve, right? So how much capacity? I want you to write down how many hours you want to be client facing work. Let's say it's 10 per week. So you have 10 1-hour spots on your calendar to be with one-on-one clients or group calls, doesn't matter. So when we kind of reverse engineer this stuff, once you figure out how many hours you actually want to work, then we can talk about the offers. What are the offers that can actually fit into this amount of time that you've allotted for client work? The whole goal of this is to make sure that the math is mathing. You know what I mean? So if you have a one-on-one offer that's $5,000 and you want to make $100,000 a year, I'm going to get my calculator because I didn't sleep much last night. Mom life. I know that sounds silly when it's such a round number, but here we go. I don't want to make mistakes. So that was the wrong one. You need 20 clients. So I'm just going to write this down and then I'm going to show it to you. 100K per year at 5K per client equals 20, right? I'm using 100K because most of you average out to $100,000 when you're talking about how much you want to make. And if you're not quite like in your business yet, where you don't really know exactly what you're selling yet, that's okay. I can help you create a high ticket offer and go out and market it. That's not a problem. Let's just talk about the 100K again. If you're at an $8,000 offer, because a lot of my clients have $8,000 and $10,000 offers. Now, this is also going to matter for how long the container is. So if you have a $5,000 offer, right? And it's a 6-month program, whatever you're doing, your one-on-one work is a 6-month container, then you're going to be able to serve 20 clients a year to hit your 100K, but you only need 10 for half the year and 10 for the other half the year, right? So I just want you to start getting like a real good idea of how many clients you actually need, because it's really important for us to actually see the numbers on paper, because what happens often is people will come to me and be like, I want to hit, for some reason, the number this year for 2026 was 300 grand. And then I'd be like, great, what are your offers? And then they would tell me their offers. And I'd be like, do you realize you have to sign 42 clients at this amount of money to hit that this year? Like, that's a lot of one-on-one work. And then when you start breaking it down to what that would actually look like weekly, I mean, it was a lot. And sometimes we have bi-weekly calls, but I just want you to keep in mind that you want to build a business and still have time for your life. So don't overstrain yourself in your schedule. You know what I mean? Okay, so if you're going 100,000 divided by an $8,000 offer, oh my goodness, I keep hitting the wrong button. I feel like Jeopardy music should be playing right now with how slow I am. You know when you've microwaved your coffee 6 times, but you show up and do it anyway? That's the key. Okay, divided by 8,000. There we go. So 12 and a half clients. And then if you do it at 10,000 for an offer, obviously you only need 10. I just want to show you this because most of you that come to this will have high ticket offers or want to create one. And so if you're at a $5,000 offer, you need 20 for the year. If you're at 8, you need 12 and a half, and then call it 13. And then if you have a $10,000 offer, you need 10 clients a year. You see how different it is having to sign 10 clients versus 20 clients? But also a $5,000 offer, generally speaking, unless it's a group program, if it's a one-on-one container, most of the time that's going to be a 6-month program. So you're going to sign 10 for half the year and 10 for the other half. So I just want you to write down right now your own numbers of like how much you want to make, how much your high ticket offer is, or how much you would like a high ticket offer to be if you don't have one yet. Most of you have one already. So I want to know. Some of you are like 90 days of coaching, 6-month package, 10K, 1,800. 6 months, one-on-one weekly for 5,000 per year. I don't know yet, unsure right now. Okay, these are all good. I just want you to start going through this exercise. If you already know your high ticket offer, this is going to be super simple math. You take your goal, let's say it's 100 grand, you take your offer, let's say it's 10 grand, and then you know that you have to hit 10 clients this year for the whole year. Now, how free does that make your schedule feel if you know that that's the number? Or if you have 100,000 and you have like as your goal and you have a $5,000 offer, you know you need to enroll 20 clients this year, but only 10 at a time. And if you're doing weekly calls, that means you need to find 10 hours of one-on-one time on your schedule every week, but you can pick which days you work, what times, you know what I mean? So you can still, spread out your schedule however it works for your life. Make sure you're always scheduling your life in first, because otherwise we're in reactionary mode and it just burns us out and stresses us out. It's not fun. So please take this opportunity at the beginning of 2026 to literally sit here and look at this and be like, you know what? I'm going to create a business that freaking lights me up, that I love showing up to serve, and that pays me a shit ton of money to do what I love to do. That's what we're after, right? We don't want to go back to anybody else's rules, the way society tells us success is built, and we don't want to get paid what somebody else tells us we're worth, because we're worth way more than that. And there are plenty of people out in the world that are going to pay for you to come in and help them do whatever it is that you do best, right? You are amazing at something, you know it, charge for it. That's a whole different workshop. Okay, so math is now mathing, I hope. So the capacity that you have has to match your offers that you have. And what I like to do is always have a high ticket offer and then some back pocket offers, I call them. So like you can always reach into your back pocket and pull them out anytime you need them. And so I usually say have like a low ticket entry, something a little bit higher, like an an intensive of some kind. That's kind of, I have like a business breakthrough call. That's like my 1 hour. Then I have a strategy intensive, which is 90 minutes plus 1 week of Voxer support. And then I have like jump into the group coaching program that I host or come into one-on-one work with me. Like that's the ascension. That's the staircase for everybody to walk on. So what is your ascension model? So I don't always advertise the breakthrough call and the strategy intensive, but it's something that if I'm in conversation with somebody and they're like, hey, how could I work with you? Because that comes up a lot. That's what I teach, the art of pitchless sales, where people always end up asking you how you can work together. Then you have those opportunities to pull that out and it's ready to go. It rolls off your tongue. You know exactly what it is and you know exactly what the right fit for that person is. Because not everyone is going to need your high ticket offer at that moment, right? Some people are just getting started, or some people just need one little piece. They don't need the whole picture. They don't need the whole year of your support. Everybody's different. So you want to have those back pocket offers. So take the time right now. If you're watching the replay, hit pause and go and write down your high ticket offer and also your like starter intro offer and your mid. So for me, I have the low ticket entry, the strategy intensive. So I'm going to give you numbers just so that you charge whatever is right for you. Pricing doesn't actually ultimately matter. And everybody always thinks that's crazy to say, but pricing actually only matters if it matches the energy that you have behind it. If you know that you're worth $300 for an hour because you know that the business breakthrough idea that person can have in 1 hour is worth way more than $300, then that's what you charge for it. So that's what I do. I charge $300 for an hour. And if you have something where you can lay out a plan for somebody and help them actually feel like they can go and hit the ground running with an actual tangible plan, so they don't have to like think about it and be all over the place in their head anymore with whatever it is, the transformation that you help with, that's a 90-minute call for me and a week of Voxer support so that they can implement it. Because there's always going to be like that point after somebody gets super clear on something. It's like, and then they're going to have the wobble or the crash afterwards where they're like, wait, I thought I was so clear and now I'm so confused. So I added a week of Voxer support on the back of that offer to help that person, because I know that that's where the wobble happens, to get them through that. So that's what I charge $1,000 for. So I have a 300, 1,000. My group program is $1,000 a month for the year. And then I have one-on-one coaching packages that are 6 and 12 months. So what is it that you actually have for somebody to come in and kind of like ascend the staircase, walk up the staircase with you? Some will jump straight onto, stair 3 or 4, but you really want to have that clear. And you also want to make sure that one of those offers is your true anchor for the year, for your goal. Does that make sense? So yes, you have a bunch of different offers, but guess what happens when we have too many offers that we're trying to sell? Then when you go to post or you're creating something, you're kind of like all over the place and you don't know exactly who you're talking to. I want you to aim straight down the middle at your anchor offer. For me, that's my signature offer, which is my group program. So I'm going to throw everything in my marketing at that offer the majority of the time all year, so that it's the thing that pulls, because the majority of where I want to show up and feel free and serve is going to be in that container, right? Does that make sense? So make sure you have that one key offer that anchors. Some of you, it will be a one-on-one package. Maybe it's a 3-month, maybe it's a 6-month, maybe it's a year, doesn't matter. What is your one anchor offer that you really want to base how you're targeting? Okay, I know that if I'm selling this $10,000 offer, that I need to bring in 10 clients this year, and then I will hit my goal and I will feel free and I can breathe. And all the other offers are just going to be bonuses. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to go straight down the middle at that one. The other thing that I always talk about in my workshops, I have my fancy, dancy little slideshows here, fancy like that. Here is what you do with your marketing. I just want to add this. This is the same thing with your offer. When you're marketing things and you're talking to everybody, picture this as like the lanes on a freeway. When you're talking to everybody, it's kind of like a traffic jam, right? It's like all over the place. But when you're literally talking straight down the middle to B, A and C can still hear you and can choose to merge into your lane, but everybody in B knows exactly what you do, exactly what you help with, exactly what you offer, and they can hear you loud and clear, so that they can go, you're going straight down the middle at your primary offer, your signature offer. So what is your anchor offer this year? What's it going to be? A lot of you already have like lower ticket offers, mids, maybe group, maybe one-on-one. Everybody has a different business, so I'd have to look at yours specifically. And if you want help on your offers, email them to me after this class and I will go and look at them and I can give you some feedback. Don't have too many offers because it makes you confused. Yes, it's also going to make your ideal clients confused who are watching you, but mostly because you're confused. Does that make sense? Yes, there's lots of people in the world who are super successful and they have 50 offers, but they didn't start there. So don't start there. Make sure on your way to your $100,000 year, make sure that you have one signature anchor offer that you're going after just to make your life easier, you know? Okay, so hopefully that's going to help with like, okay, I need to know and make sure that I have an anchor offer. I know how many hours a week I want to work. Let's say it's 10. I know that I can sell 10 one-on-one spots, or like for somebody like me, my schedule, because of my son and because of 4 kids and because of life, my schedule's all over the place. So for me, it helps me to have a group program where I can show up and serve and over deliver within that space for the people who show up and do the work. So that's my anchor. That's the one I want to feed. That's the one I want to breathe life into all the time. So you have to figure out what that is for you. And that allows me to have a lot of extra time on my schedule and in my calendar so that I can go in and over deliver without feeling boxed in by it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because I don't want a whole bunch of one-on-one clients on my calendar. I used to have that and it used to feel very constricting to me, but that's because the season of life I'm in. So when I talk about your capacity to work right now, I want you to picture yourself as the season of life that you're in right now, depending on what's going on in your life. Are you taking care of family members? How old are your kids? You know, do you have XYZ on your shoulders? Are you working a second job? Or like some people are still working corporate before they make this leap. Are you taking care of whatever? Like there's so many things that factor into each person's individual situation. But we tend to think when we set goals about where we were at before when we were just super ambitious and free and everything was good. And you know what I mean? So it's really important that you look at it as if you are in the season of life you're in right now. Because when I was 24 and I was just flying and I was in corporate and I was just crushing sales goals, I had a very different capacity to serve, to work, to market, to go and find clients than I do now. You have to work smarter, not harder. So what is the capacity that you have to work right now in your life? Be very clear and honest with yourself about that. Otherwise, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to feel like you want to burn it all down. And that's the last place we want to be. Okay. So what is the season of life you're in? Therefore, what is the capacity you have to show up and serve? What would make you feel really pumped? Because most of us want to work because we love it, not because we have to, right? So what do you love to show up and do? And how much do you want to do that? And how tight do you want your calendar? And then after all that's done, does your capacity and your offers, especially your anchor offer, do they match your income goal that you had originally set? Or did it change? Where is your breathing freedom goal? What's that number for you? And then just double check it. We're going to reverse engineer it, right? Like, does it match your offers and the season of life you're in? If the answer is yes, now we have certainty energy. Now we can say, okay, I'm going out into the world and I need to find 10 clients this year. Now I need the strategy and the plan to make that happen. Do you see how this kind of goes all over the place when we just throw a random number out and then we're just chasing different strategies all over the place that are trying to make this happen for us? If you want to sell out your high ticket offer this year and be set to scale next year, because that's what most of my clients want to do, then this 2026, you set a goal that you know will make you feel free and be able to breathe that matches your offer and the season of life you're in. And now we can go and attack this thing. So if you want help with this, like I said, after you're done watching this, whether it was a replay or not, just reply to the email and let me know what your offers are, or if you need some help with them. I really want you to feel certainty energy about your offers this year. And then we can go into, okay, now how do we go map this out so that we can pull in the amount of clients that you need? If you're somebody like me who doesn't have time to show up on social media all the time, then you have to rely on something else to anchor your business. So I use events. That's what I teach inside the Ambitious Academy, because it's a super flexible strategy to be able to use for ambitious moms like me who need to be able to grow and evolve as they progress through the year. So it doesn't like bottle you up and restrict you. So if you have any questions about getting my support with this, definitely email me about your offers. But also, if you are curious about the Ambitious Academy, I teach you how to sell out your high ticket offer this year. And the main thing that most people are missing in their strategies is lead generation. how do you actually grow a targeted audience quickly so that you can sell out your high ticket offer? I use a proven event strategy that I teach where I host collaborative events and then I host nurture and conversion events on the other side. And generally speaking, my clients end up asking how they can work with me. That's what I teach. So I wanted to keep this short and sweet. I hope that you really, really feel so strongly that you can go after your dreams despite what's going on in your life. I know that's a big factor for so many of us. If I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. And make sure that you're super clear on that big goal. Make sure you're clear on how you're going to get there and make sure it matches how you actually want to show up and serve and how much time you actually have in your life right now. Okay? Does that sound good? Okay, ladies, if you have questions, you know where to find me. Have a great day.